Hi, so I'm Samantha Frederick, and I chose to study and relay this information to you concerning folate. So, quick introduction. A description for folate is that it's a B vitamin that is needed to make red and white blood cells in the bone marrow, convert carbohydrates into energy, and produce DNA and RNA. The RDA of folate is 400 micrograms for adults, men or women. But when women are pregnant or planning to become pregnant, they are advised to get 400 to 800 micrograms per day. The upper level for adults is set to 1,000 micrograms a day, and that is just for fortified foods. That's not including foods that naturally have folate in them. So the major functions of folate are, first, DNA synthesis, second, amino acid metabolism, third, formation of the neurotransmitters serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine in the brain. Some food sources of folate are liver, legumes, and leafy greens. Those are the three main sources that are just jam-packed with folate. And then some other food sources that we can find folate in are avocados and oranges. And then also there are many cereals that have been fortified with folate so that we can also get some folate from those if we aren't partaking of these other foods. So if we have a folate deficiency, some pretty interesting things can happen. So megaloblastic anemia occurs when blood cells are unable to divide, leaving large immature red blood cells. Either a folate or vitamin B12 deficiency may cause this condition. Large immature cells also appear through the GI tract during chronic folate deficiency. This occurs because DNA synthesis is impaired, which hinders cell division in the GI tract. This change contributes to a decreased absorptive capacity of the GI tract and persistent diarrhea. Mouth sores and abdominal liver function are other signs of a folate deficiency. White blood cell synthesis also is disrupted by a folate deficiency. Because these cells are made in rapid bursts during immune challenges, for example, an infection, thus immune functions can be diminished during a folate deficiency. So overall, your immunity can be impaired if you're not getting enough folate, but also your GI tract can be messed up. You can get persistent diarrhea, and you also can have some serious mouth sores, and your liver won't function properly. Toxicity. So the risk of toxicity from folic acid is pretty low just because it's a water-soluble vitamin, and water-soluble vitamins, like we learned in this week's readings, are excreted if they're in excess. So they don't stick around like fat-soluble vitamins, but they are excreted if we have them in excess. Also, with toxicities, high doses of folate may mask vitamin B12 deficiencies. So because of that, the problem might be that we have a folate deficiency, but also it could be a B12 deficiency, and it's hard to see the difference because folate can mask it if you have too much. So the function of folate and metabolism. Folate is important in amino acid metabolism, especially in interconversions of amino acids. It accepts one carbon group from various amino acids and is responsible for converting the amino acid glycine to the amino acid serine, and converting the essential amino acid histidine to the amino acid glutamatic acid. Folate, among other vitamin B12s, is involved in a pathway that converts the amino acid homocysteine to the amino acid methionine. So some things that I found interesting while studying about folate is that taking folic acid tablets can prevent certain birth defects of the brain and spinal cord, known as neural tube defects, NTDs for short. So really what made me want to study folic acid out of all these vitamins and minerals and nutrients is that I have always heard that it affects pregnancies. So specifically, spinal bifida is one of the most common NTDs, and these can bring about nerve damage or incomplete brain development in severe cases. Many of these problems can be prevented by taking folic acid. So when I was first pregnant with our first child, I was told, start taking these prenatal vitamins, make sure they have folic acid in them, because that is the one thing that you as a mother can prevent from happening to your child. So folic acid works best if you take it before and during your pregnancy. It should be taken at least 3 months beforehand, so it's a good idea that if you think you're going or wanting to get pregnant soon, to start taking these prenatal vitamins before you actually get pregnant. But if you're already pregnant, just start taking them when you find out, and then continue that process. Something interesting that I found from the media recently is that in January of 2018, a study by Queen Mary University of London and the School of Advanced Study at the University of London concluded that there is no need for an upper limit of folate intake. Despite successive recommendations from the Scientific Advisory Committee on Nutrition, the UK has not introduced mandatory fortification. This could be down to fears that it might lead to more people having a folate intake above an upper limit, suggested by the US Institute of Medicine. But every day in the UK, an average of 2 women terminate a pregnancy because of a neural tube defect, which is caused by a deficiency in folate. And while every two women give birth to a baby with a spinal bifida or with one of those NSDs. Professor Nina Modi, president of the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health, said the new research was a game changer for fortification. Government now needs to implement this simple, highly effective public health measure. So currently in the UK, foods aren't fortified with folate like they are in the United States. So this whole study shows that there shouldn't be a fear of going and having too much folate in your system, because really an upper limit is not necessary because there aren't any side effects, they say, and there's no need to have that upper limit. So therefore, they suggest that the UK should go ahead and start fortifying foods with folate. So in conclusion, if you're preparing to become pregnant or pregnant already, take your prenatal vitamins with folate, unless your doctor tells you otherwise. I am aware of certain situations where taking folate might cause more harm than good. That is something that your doctor would tell you, but don't make that decision yourself. Make sure that you consult a physician about those things, and just remember that folate is important in a pregnancy. And also, remember the 3 L's when it comes to getting a lot of natural folate instead of supplements. So liver, legumes, and leafy greens, the 3 L's. And here are my references.